Just yesterday, I was doing my daily scroll through social media when I found this. This is a screenshot of the 16-year-old Sam Ruth's World Athletics page, and each of these results here are his personal record performances. Now, if you'll notice, these times are incredibly fast, but you might also notice these light green markers here signify something pretty incredible. They signify either a world record, a national record, or an area record, which refers to owning the highest scoring mark in history for your respective continent. Now, for comparison's sake here, let's take a look at a few other athletes in the World Athletics database. Here's Melissa Jefferson Wooden from the US, here's Letsile Teboho from Botswana, here's Noah Lyles from the US, and for good measure, we'll throw in the legend himself, Mondo Duplantis, in the pole vault. Notice anything different about Ruth's PB page? Well, unlike everyone else that we've just mentioned, every single one of Sam Ruth's best times are in fact some kind of record-breaking run. I have literally never seen this in all my years of covering track and field. From the outdoor 800 to the outdoor 5,000, every single one of Ruth's personal bests have made history. And remarkably, most of them are in fact world records. If this wasn't already enough to blow your mind, here's another piece to this legendary resume. Just a few weeks ago, Ruth also ran an age group world record in the 1,000 meters, but for some reason, his new 1K PB of 2:17.82 was not included in his World Athletics page. So really, his full list of absolutely mind-bending PBs looks like this. What Sam Ruth is doing is so far beyond normal that it really does break the brain. Over these past 2 months, he's gone from being one of the greatest young prodigies in middle distance running to arguably the greatest 16-year-old athlete in any sport. But his greatness does not stop here. In fact, far from it, because when we compare his performances to many of the all-time greatest by their age, we see something that really shouldn't be possible. Here's a list of the greatest 16-year-old athletes in the history of track, and attached next to them is their greatest achievement by World Athletics score when they were just 16. Now, these are some of the greatest and best moments for a young athlete in history. We have Usain Bolt with a time of 20.13 over the 200. We have Quincy Wilson dropping a stunning 44.20 in the 400. We have Jakob Ingebrigtsen throwing down his 13:35 5,000 at just 16. And how could we forget the iconic 142.27 800 meters from Cooper Lutkin House at the 2025 U.S. Championships, which again, he achieved at just 16 years old. Now, every one of these moments scored extremely high on the World Athletics scoring table, but compared to Sam Ruth, even these moments do not come close. Now, every one of these moments scored extremely high on the World Athletics scoring table, but compared to Sam Ruth, even these moments do not come close. Because for Ruth's recent 3:48 one-mile run, which he achieved at the John Thomas Terrier Classic in Boston, Ruth scored 1,278 points, which is a score that has never even been approached by a fellow 16-year-old. If we take this score and apply it to other events, this score is the equivalent to a 200 clocking of 19.64, it's the equivalent to a 400 time of 43.62, it's a 5,000 performance of 1241.73, and in the 800, a score of 1278 equals a time of 141.65. This kind of time and this kind of score is so astronomically outside of the normal that it dwarfs anything that even the great Usain Bolt achieved when he was not just 16, but 17, 18, or even 19, as his personal best in the 200 did not surpass 1278 until his Olympic year in 2008. I've covered incredibly talented teenage runners in the past, but I have never, ever seen anything quite like Sam Ruth. If I didn't know better, I would guess that Ruth was a laboratory-crafted running machine with the sole purpose of rewriting the history books from the 800 meters and upwards. He really is on that kind of trajectory. But if we look past just the sensational performances and one-of-a-kind running resume on World Athletics, we can see that Ruth really is running with the maturity of an Olympic legend. Here's Sam Ruth's 200 splits from his recent 3:48 mile. Now, we've covered these splits in the past, but I wanted to highlight something quite amazing. For this mile, Ruth's pacing is top tier, because for each 200 split, not including the opening 209-meter interval, he achieves splits basically within 1 second of each other, and that's including pace changes from other athletes and having to deal with a pacer dropping off the track. Having the ability to pace a race like this and maintain such a speedy rhythm is stuff of legends, and still, through all of it, Ruth somehow makes it look easy. Also, shout out to Sam's dad, Ben Ruth, who has been documenting his entire journey, and he's been kind enough to share footage of many moments where Ruth is breaking his records. Watching Sam run really is special, and maybe that's where he gets his speed, his natural, effortless stride. I have seen many great strides in the past, from Haile Gebrselassie from Ethiopia to Eliud Kipchoge from Kenya and Kenenisa Bekele, also from Ethiopia. And you know what they all have in common? They make it look way easier than it actually is. And from my perspective, Sam Ruth's running fits perfectly into this description as effortless. Even when hitting 400 splits of around 56 seconds per lap, he really doesn't even look like he's going that fast. Here's Sam running his recent 353 mile in New Zealand, and just look at how strong and how upright he looks. He has such fluid and nearly flawless form even when he's going fast, and his running really does lend itself to running fast in various events. Clearly he has power, but he can put his talents from the 800 meters up to the 5,000. Now, some of the greatest distance runners and middle distance athletes of all time have amazing abilities from the 800 up to the 5,000. Athletes like El Garouge, the current 1,500 and mile world record holder, not only had a 3:26.15 and a 3:43 mile to his name, but he had a 7:23 3,000, and he also had a 12:50 in the 5,000. Another all-time great was Haile Gebrselassie, an athlete who broke 27 world records during his career. And he not only had a 3:31 1,500 to his name indoors, but he ran an 8:04 for 2 miles, a 12:39 for 5,000, and a 7:26 for the 3,000 meters. Now, I am not suggesting that Ruth is set to follow the trajectories of these all-time greats. In fact, I'm sure he'll benefit from finding his own path in running. But it is worth thinking about at what is required to find success in the highest levels, because you certainly need some quick speed, but you also need 5,000 meter strength. At 3:48 indoors, Ruth has already cemented his name as mile royalty at just 16. But thankfully, at this Boston indoor meet, they had official 1,500 splits. And with a split time of 3:33.25, he also broke the world youth record for the 1,500, both indoors and outdoors, as the previous record stood with Cam Myers at a shockingly close time of 3:33.26, just 1/100th of a second faster than his Australian counterpart. I hope that Sam continues to find success and also continues to enjoy the sport, because at this stage, his ceiling really does seem endless. And now, I would love to hear from all of you. What do you think about Sam Ruth's recent run, and what times do you think that he will achieve in his career? Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time.